Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions. And it's my pleasure to have with me today Amy Gilbert with Korean Adoptees Together Incorporated. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Amy, tell me a little bit about, I guess I'm going to start first about your organization. I know that ties into your story too. So tell us the significance of this organization.
So I am a Korean adoptee. I was adopted in 1974, one of over 200,000 Korean children who are adopted. And I decided to start this nonprofit organization to bring other Korean adoptees together, be a resource for them. And we are planning our very first event in October. It will be a dinner and a afternoon kind of quasi-conference. So.
Oh, wow. And so I know there's a lot of Korean adoptees, but what, as far as, I guess there's something that started this for you because you were trying to find out more information about your past, correct?
So in 2018, my husband, in order to mark our 25th wedding anniversary, said, why don't we go to the Olympics in Korea? And so I had never been back to Korea since I was adopted. And we went, we saw the Olympics, and one thing that we did there was go to the orphanage. And that was the only information I had, was the name and address of an orphanage. So when I arrived there, our translator spoke in Korean. I did not know any Korean whatsoever. And after going back and forth with the staff at the office there, she said they were going to look for my birth parents. I had not planned on doing that.
Right.
So I let that pass. We enjoyed the Olympics. It was super cold. Went back home, and I received an email from Korea Social Services saying that they had found my brother, that I had an older brother.
Oh, what a shock, because you didn't even know you had one, right?
It was a shock. So he had searched for me in 1987. And because of that, and the fact that he worked in the government as a police officer, they were able to get his current contact information.
Oh, wow.
And so a few months go by, and one day I received an email from Korea Social Services. They said, congratulations, we found your brother. And we have given him your email address. And so I just dropped down into the closest chair. And
it had to be a shock. First of all, finding out you had one, and now actually having contact with them,
yes.
right?
Or so at least, he sent me emails that same day, August 1st, 2018, and I read through these very short, very poorly written in English emails, and just started sobbing. I pulled myself together and called my husband, started sobbing again, pulled myself together, called my mother in Gainesville, started sobbing again. She had to wait for me. 3 days after that first set of emails, my brother in Korea called me through a translator in Tampa. And in that conversation, he asked me when I could come back to Korea.
Oh, wow.
We had no plans to go back.
Right. And but I'm sure you're curious now because you want to meet them, right?
Right. And so I said, well, maybe we could go next year. And apparently that was too vague for him. And he said, I'm coming to see you. And so he and my oldest sister flew to Jacksonville and stayed with me in my home for the week of Thanksgiving in 2018.
What a great Thanksgiving.
Yes, it was the most memorable Thanksgiving I've ever had.
Wow. And so now, obviously, you're in touch with your family,
So I
your
have
your
met all
your
of my
birth family.
family,
Yes.
my birth mother, and I have two older brothers and two older sisters.
Oh, that's so
So,
great.
and then all of their children. So I have, nieces and nephews and great nephews.
Wow, that's awesome. So I think you captured most of this in your book, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so, want to share the title of your book?
My book is called Becoming Korean, a memoir, and it is available on Amazon as a paperback and electronically.
Okay.
So
And so I'm sure that was very healing for
it
you.
was. It took a long time to write the book, and I had never processed anything really. I wanted to just be accepted in my family, in my community, and I never processed the fact that I was Korean, I came from another country, that I actually had a different first language.
Wow, that is so
So,
awesome. And I know you're really involved with the Asian community here.
yes.
And in fact, you have something coming up next week, correct?
Yes, that's right. At the main library, there will be an Asian American Pacific Islander dinner. It's at 6:30 on Tuesday, and you can show up at the door and pay for your ticket and come on in.
All right. And you will be, let me make sure I get this right, you will be wearing a hanbok.
Hanbok.
Hanbok. Okay.
Hanbok.
And tell us exactly what that is.
So it's the traditional Korean dress, and they're typically made out of silk, and they are actually still worn today. I was just in Korea for 2 months, and we went to Jeonju, and there were thousands of people wearing the traditional Korean clothes.
Wow, that is so
They're
awesome.
embroidered, a lot of flowers embroidered along the hems and sleeves, and yeah.
I am so happy for you. And I really appreciate you sharing your story. And I hope it helps someone else to understand that, they may have other family or to understand how to process it, especially with mental health awareness
Right.
month, because that is part of your mental health, that
Yes.
processing.
Yes, it
And
is.
so I really appreciate having you come on as a guest. And I hope you have a great event next week.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I want a special thank you to Amy Gilbert, and please check out her book, Becoming Korean, a memoir. And we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.